Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. The Sunday afternoon was unusually quiet, a deceptive calm before a storm I never saw coming. I had decided to clean up some old files on our shared computer when a notification popped up on the screen. My wife, Emily, had just uploaded a new batch of photos to her social media profile. Her account was always buzzing with activity, a colorful showcase of her vibrant social life. Normally, I never gave much thought to her online escapades, chalking them up to her extroverted nature. But today, something prompted me to click through. As I scrolled through the photos, Emily's radiant smile was as mesmerizing as the day we met. There she was at a friend's birthday party, cocktail in hand, surrounded by familiar faces, all except one unfamiliar shadow in the background of one particular photo. It was subtle, barely noticeable, but something about the curvature of that shadow against the bright flash of the camera caught my eye. It lingered in the reflection of a mirror behind her, a silhouette distinctly male, and not just any male. There was something alarmingly specific about his posture. With a rising sense of dread, I leaned closer, eyes narrowing. The details gradually morphed into clarity. The shadow showed a mule of an aroused man, his features stark against the reflective glass. The breath hitched in my throat as my gaze flitted to another damning detail, the cap. It was unmistakable, the very same one I'd gifted my best friend, Mark, last Christmas. It was unique, a limited edition, something he wore with pride. And there it was, abandoned on the chair next to Emily, in a place he had no reason to be, our home. The room spun around me as the implications settled in my stomach like lead. Rage mixed with disbelief, my fingers trembled as I closed the laptop with a snap. "How was the party last night?" I asked casually later at dinner, watching Emily's face. "It was fun. Sad you couldn't make it," she replied, her smile never reaching her eyes as she focused on her meal. "Oh, who all came?" My voice was even, but inside, my heart raced. "Just the usual gang," she waved a hand dismissively, "you know, Sarah, Jen, Pete." Her words trailed off into the background noise of my mounting heartache. Mark's name never came up. My mind raced with images of betrayal, each more vivid than the last. After dinner, I found myself wandering to our bedroom, standing before the mirror that had captured so much more than Emily probably intended. My reflection stared back, a man broken by trust. That night, I lay awake, the image of the silhouette burning behind my eyelids. By morning, my decision was made. Cold clarity replaced the initial shock. Emily and I would be no more, and as for Mark, he would lose a friend he never truly had. The following weeks were a blur of whispered phone calls, covert meetings with lawyers, and silent dinners at home. Emily seemed none the wiser, caught up in the web of her deceit. The divorce papers were a surprise she didn't see coming. The day she left our house for the last time, her eyes searched mine for an answer, an explanation I never provided. The betrayal was too deep, the wound too raw. I watched her disappear into the cab, her life packed away in 2 suitcases, a stark end to our shared journey. As the car disappeared around the corner, I felt the weight of my heart shift slightly, the first step towards a freedom that tasted bittersweet. Revenge hadn't brought peace, just a hollow victory. My new life was about to begin, on the ashes of what was once a beautiful lie. The sharp scent of fresh paint fills the air, a tangible sign of the new beginning I'm forging out of the remnants of my shattered marriage. It's been 2 months since Emily moved out, and I've decided to renovate the house, erase every memory infused into the walls. "Looking good, Tom." My neighbor, Lucy, calls out as she jogs past my open front door. She's been a comforting presence, always ready with a supportive word or a hot dish to share. "Thanks, Lucy." "Planning to finish the living room by tonight," I reply, flashing her a brief smile before returning to my task. Later that evening, as I'm sorting through old boxes deciding what to keep, my phone buzzes, a text message from Mark. My stomach tightens at the sight of his name. "Can we talk?" I think it's time to clear the air. I stare at the message, anger bubbling inside me. After weeks of silence, his sudden desire to talk is both unwelcome and necessary. I need closure, and perhaps this is the only way to get it. Meet me at Jerry's bar. 8 p.m. Sending the text feels like stepping back into the storm I just escaped. At Jerry's, the familiar dim lighting and the clink of glasses create a backdrop for what I anticipate to be a tense reunion. Mark is already there, seated at a corner booth, his face drawn. "Tom," he begins, standing as I approach. "Save it," I cut him off, my voice colder than I intended. "Just tell me why." Mark sighs, running a hand through his hair. "It wasn't planned, Tom. It just happened. One thing led to another, and you decided my wife was fair game?" I snap, feeling the old betrayal as fresh as if it were just yesterday. "It was a mistake," he admits, his eyes not meeting mine. "I'm sorry, truly. I've lost not just you but my self-respect. I'm in therapy now, trying to figure out why I did what I did." His words hang between us, heavy and inadequate. The silence is broken by the arrival of Sarah, another old friend who's been caught in the crossfire of our fractured relationships. "Tom, I just heard you were here with," she stops short, noticing the tension. "I hope I'm not interrupting." "No, Sarah. Please, join us," I say, grateful for her timing. As she sits, her presence shifts the dynamic, softening the sharp edges of my anger. We talk, first in halting phrases, then more freely, unpacking the hurt and betrayal, dissecting the remnants of past friendships. "It's a mess, isn't it?" Sarah finally says, a sad smile on her lips. "All of us caught up in this." "Yeah, it is," I agree, my gaze shifting between Mark and Sarah. "But maybe it's also a chance to start over. Not everything has to end." Mark nods, relief evident in his eyes. "I'd like that, Tom. If you ever can forgive me." "I don't know if I can," I admit, "but maybe I can try to understand." As the night wears on, the conversation turns to lighter topics, memories of better times. When we finally part ways, the air feels different, lighter, yet charged with the possibility of new beginnings. Walking home, the cool night breeze feels like a balm, soothing the raw edges of my emotions. The future is uncertain, but one thing is clear: healing starts with forgiveness, whether of others or of oneself. And as I unlock my freshly painted front door, stepping into the newness of my home, I feel a flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, this is where I start to find peace. The soft glow of the morning sun filters through the freshly cleaned windows of my house as I sit down with a strong cup of coffee. The renovation is almost complete, each new fixture and fresh coat of paint severing another tie to my old life with Emily. My phone rings, snapping me back from my thoughts to the present. It's Sarah. "Tom, you got a minute?" Her voice is tense, urgent. "Sure, what's up?" I ask, a flicker of concern running through me. "It's about Emily. She's trying to get back into the circle, Tom. And not everyone knows what happened. Some people think you might have been too harsh." The news hits me like a cold wave. Too harsh. After what she did. I know. But she's good at playing the victim, and not everyone sees what we see," Sarah explains. The conversation weighs on me long after we hang up. I decide to take a walk, needing some fresh air to clear my head. As I stroll through the neighborhood, my thoughts are interrupted by a familiar voice. "Tom." It's Lucy, jogging up to me with her usual energetic stride. "How's the house coming along?" "Almost done," I reply, managing a smile. "Just taking a break from all the chaos." Lucy slows her pace to walk with me, her expression turning serious. "I heard about Emily trying to weave her way back into things. Tough situation." "Yeah, it's complicated. Some people think I'm the bad guy now." Look, Tom, not everyone knows the whole story, but those who do, we're with you, she assures me, her support clear. As we round the corner, we bump into Jenna, another mutual friend who's been distant since the divorce. Her face is a mix of surprise and discomfort upon seeing me. Tom, hi, Jenna starts awkwardly. I've been meaning to talk to you. About? I prompt, not sure I'm ready for another confrontation. Emily. She's been reaching out to a lot of us, spinning the story like she's the one who was wronged. I didn't know what to think at first, but after seeing her true colors recently, I wanted to apologize for any doubt. Her apology is sincere, and I nod, appreciating her honesty. Thanks, Jenna. Means a lot hearing that. Maybe we should all get together, clear the air. I think it's time we put all this behind us and sort out where we all stand, Lucy suggests, hopeful. That sounds like a good idea, Jenna agrees. I think it over for a moment. Let's do it. It's time everyone knew the whole truth. The three of us part ways with a plan to meet over the weekend, a united front forming for the first time in months. As I continue my walk, I realize that the path to healing isn't just about moving past Emily's betrayal but also rebuilding the trust and friendship with those around me. The weekend meeting would be a turning point, one way or another. Whether it brings closure or opens new wounds, I'm ready to face it head-on. This chapter of my life needs a conclusion, and I'm determined to write it myself. The air is charged with tension as I arrive at the local community center where our meeting is set. The room is already filling with familiar faces, each carrying a mix of curiosity and concern. As I greet Lucy and Jenna, I notice Emily hasn't arrived yet, but the murmur of conversations suggests she's the topic on everyone's mind. Lucy leans in, whispering, "Ready for this?" "As I'll ever be," I reply, scanning the room for any sign of Emily. Minutes later, Emily walks in, her posture confident, her smile forced. The room quiets down as she takes a seat across from me. I can feel every eye on us, the weight of their expectations pressing down. "Let's get started," I announce, my voice steady. "We're here to clear the air. Emily, since you've been reaching out to everyone, why don't you go first?" Emily nods, standing up. "I know there's been a lot of talk, and yes, I've made mistakes. But the way Tom has painted our situation isn't the full story. I'm here to share my side." She goes on to weave a tale of loneliness and misunderstanding, portraying herself as neglected and driven into the arms of another. Her words are calculated, each sentence designed to tug at heartstrings. But as she speaks, I see the flicker of doubt in the eyes of our friends. When she finishes, the room is silent, until Jenna speaks up, "Emily, we've heard a lot from you, but actions speak louder than words. And your actions have shown us more than enough." Before Emily can respond, the door swings open, and in walks Mark, uninvited and unexpected. His arrival is a shock, especially to Emily, whose face drains of color. "Mark? What are you doing here?" Emily's voice cracks. "I'm here to set things right," Mark declares, his gaze locked on Emily. He turns to address the room. "I'm not just here to apologize to Tom. I'm here to reveal the truth. Emily and I were never just a fling. Emily planned everything from the start." The room erupts in murmurs as Mark reveals messages and emails, conversations between him and Emily plotting their encounters, discussing how they would manipulate everyone's perceptions if things ever came to light. Emily tries to interrupt, "Mark, why are you doing this? We agreed to lie." Mark cuts her off. "I can't live with that anymore. I owe it to Tom, and everyone here, to be honest. I'm sorry, truly sorry." The betrayal hanging in the air is palpable, and Emily's facade crumbles under the weight of her exposed schemes. She tries to argue, to salvage some dignity, but the evidence is overwhelming. "I can't believe I ever trusted you," I say quietly, my voice thick with disgust. Emily looks at me, then at all the faces turned towards her. With nothing left to defend, she leaves the room, her exit as dramatic as the deception she orchestrated. After a long, heavy silence, Lucy places a comforting hand on my shoulder. I think we all need some time to process this. One by one, people start to leave, each exchange a mixture of supportive glances and shaken heads. The meeting ends not with a bang, but with the quiet acknowledgement of the truths laid bare. As the community center empties, I feel a sense of closure. The betrayal was deeper than I had ever imagined, but knowing the full extent allows me to finally close this chapter of my life. Mark approaches me. Tom, I don't expect forgiveness, but I hope today helps mend some wounds. It'll take time, Mark. Maybe a lot of it, I admit, then add, but today was a start. Walking home, the evening air feels different, lighter. The path ahead is uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, it's one I choose for myself, free from deceit and laden with possibility.